how to get your thesis published. So that means you have already done a research project that is a thesis as a part of your university requirement, or maybe some of you have done your research which is not a part of your university requirement, but you have done a research project, and how to get it published and what are the steps that are involved in this entire publication process. Complete this session, I anticipate that all the participants will be able to know the contents of a manuscript. You know that a scientific manuscript, what all the contents it will consist of, and the importance of each steps involved in developing a scientific manuscript. And you will also be partially able to write your own manuscript, of course, with mentor help. It is not possible like you attend a 2-hour session and straight away start writing a manuscript. That's why you always need the experience of your mentors, your guides, your seniors, your lecturers, your faculty members, your colleagues who already have got experience with publishing. And you will also learn how to submit a manuscript to a journal, right? That means once your manuscript is ready, it has to be submitted to an appropriate journal and it has to be get published. So this is what I anticipate you all to be knowing at the end of this today's presentation. Now the question comes, why publish? Should we really need to publish? I am a student. I will do my physiotherapy course, and after 4 years, I will get my degree. I get myself trained in a hospital. Then I will find a job, maybe in a hospital, maybe in a clinic, or I will do my own sort of my practice, or maybe I will go into some abroad countries and I will work. So why should I publish? I learned the basic physiotherapy skills, and I'm good at making, sort of this physiotherapy procedures. I can do all sort of manipulations in the human body. I understand the physiology, I understand the anatomy. Then why should I publish? So this is what the question comes in many of our mind. So maybe when we go more into this session, I'm sure you will get an answer. If you look into worldwide in the academic societies today, there is a concept what you call as publish or perish. Either you should publish or you will perish. Perish means you will not be able to sustain in the field. Let us see why we should publish. Of course, to advance science. Suppose if the people who have earlier done the research and they have not published it, so how science would be developing? You see earlier how 100 years back, how the aeroplane were looking like, and now today the aeroplanes are different, you see. So the science keep on changing. So it is very important that we do research, and the research has to be communicated. The publications bring changes in practice, policies, the thought process of the leaders, thought process of the practitioners, thought process of the academicians, and so on. So it is very important. And even the curriculum or the practice, whatever we do, whatever the teaching learning process we do day and day, it all comes as outcome of someone's research output. For students, the first step toward an academic and the other careers. For example, if you are a student and you have already completed your research project, it is your first step towards your academic process. You see, you learn how to publish. I've done a research in my hospital. I have interacted with patient. I have made a research proposal and I have a finding. Now, what will I do? If I don't publish that finding, the finding is like going to be killed, right? So I want it to be published. I want other people to know like what I am doing, and so that's going to be helpful for others. In the universities, for promotion and ranking, this is going to be one of the important requirements that all of us publish it. Now, I would like to quickly give you two landmark publications which has changed the entire world. If you look into the first publication, that what you will see, the molecular structure of nucleic acid. I'm sure all of us know about the DNA structure and so on. And today you see there are a lot of research that has come with the genomic technology, then use of this digital genomic library and pharmacogenomics, pharmacogenetics. So all these things, the foundation was done by two scientists, Watson and Crick. So basically, this Watson and Crick made a publication on April 25, 1953, the Nature journal. You all know that Nature is a very popular journal and prestigious journal. So when they made their publication in this journal, and this publication has actually made an important change in the practice. So today, whatever knowledge we get it, the foundation was put by them in a publication. It was a very small publication. It was just a one-page publication, and that has brought a big change. And the second second one, you see, this was a popular article that was published in the journal Lancet in the year 1962. There was a medicine called thalidomide. When this thalidomide was given to pregnant women for the morning sickness, vomiting, lot of people have been, the children who were born to these pregnant women were having congenital abnormalities. They did not have their legs, they did not have their hands, and so on. But then there was a person who published it in a journal, these case reports, based on his experience. So once he published his experience, then naturally other people also start looking for the occurrence of this side effect. That's why it's very important for us that we have some unique findings. I did a research, I found out there's something very important, very strange, something very unique. So I need to publish it. Once I publish it, then naturally it's going to change the practice.